Sahih al-Bukhari 2491. Narrated Nafi. Ibn Umar said, Allah's Messenger said, if one man omits his share of a jointly possessed slave, and can afford the price of the other's shares according to the adequate price of the slave will be completely manumitted, otherwise he will be partially manumitted. Ayub, a sub-narrator, is not sure whether the saying, otherwise he will be partially manumitted, was said by Nafi or the Prophet. Sahih al-Bukhari 2492. Narrated Abu Huraira. The Prophet said, whoever manumits his share of a jointly possessed slave, it is imperative for him to get that slave manumitted completely by paying the remaining price, and if he does not have sufficient money to manumit him, then the price of the slave should be estimated justly, and he is to be allowed to work and earn the amount that will manumit him, without overburdening him. Sahih al-Bukhari 2493. Narrated in Nu'man bin Bashir. The Prophet said, the example of the person abiding by Allah's order and restrictions in comparison to those who violate them is like the example of those persons who drew lots for their seats in a boat. Some of them got seats in the upper part, and the others in the lower. When the latter needed water, they had to go up to bring water, and that troubled the others, so they said, let us make a hole in our share of the ship, and get water, saving those who are above us from troubling them. So, if the people in the upper part left the others do what they had suggested, all the people of the ship would be destroyed, but if they prevented them, both parties would be safe. In the hadith mentioned above we have found that if a person is willing to manumit, meaning free a slave, and there is a joint custody of the slave, then he can let go of his price and pay what he is owed to the other person. If the person is unable to pay the remaining price, then the remaining price must be justly calculated and then allowed to work the remaining amount which will free him. The word justly is used here in the financial context to make it clear not to make an assumption in the remaining price but rather calculate what is exactly left and how much time that slave has spent already, so it would justify the remaining amount. Although there might not be people governing this rule, but since it is instructed to us by our dear Prophet, then we should abide by it and be just in all our dealings, and keep in mind not to hurt the feelings of the slaves by getting him to overwork for our own sake. In the later hadith we have seen that if there are people who are abiding by the laws of Allah Almighty, and those who ignore them will face same consequences if they don't perform the proper and appropriate actions in stopping the people who are ignoring the instructions. As both might be in same boat, and the good have the duty to stop them from any wrongdoing, as it will also be a reason for their being quiet actions. So being a Muslim, it is our duty to not stay quiet when the bad people are taking a bad action, but they should rather stop them and try to guide them to a better path. As a Muslims we have been entitled to be good to others and stop others from doing bad, as it will also cause the downfall of the good people. We have been taught, or rather have been instructed here, to be just to the people regardless of their status and be good to them and also spread the goodness all around. If a person stays silent, it is bad for them and for the others who are around them, so think about the people around you and always try to spread the positivity all around and stop people from the bad deeds, as it will also drown us with them. May Allah guide us all and may He always protect us.